guys! I just wanted to do a review for you for this kit that I just got in the mail from Everyday Minerals, and this is what it looks like. I can hold these up. Little cute tiny little jars and a brush, and this is the Thymless concealer kit, and I'm not sure why it's called that because I don't think any thyme is involved. But basically, these are versions of concealers that Everyday Minerals already makes, but they are creamy by adding some vitamin E to them. So the texture of the powder is, I mean, it's still very much powder, but it's not as kind of as light and powdery as some of the other concealers. So it's, I don't know if you've ever noticed certain mineral products are almost clumpy. They have that little clumpy texture to it because it's sticking together to each other because of that extra moisture that it has. So this is the kind of texture that it has. And so to make it a little easier to get out of the jar, because it is kind of clumpy, Everyday Minerals has put this little hole on top. Just one big hole instead of several little ones like they typically have in the sifters. And this is the brush that it comes with. It is the concealer brush, and I just want to show this to you in comparison to the eyeshadow brush, just so you can get a better idea. The eyeshadow brush is a little bit thicker, it's shorter, but they actually both kind of come to a point, but this comes to more of a point, the concealer brush does. And again, it's a little bit less dense in terms of how you can see they're pretty stiff bristles. This one obviously flops over more just because they're longer. So it would work well as just under eye concealer, or you can even probably try to use this as eyeshadow brush. It probably could work for that if you don't need a concealer brush. So let me show you these colors. And what you'll notice, or maybe you won't notice it in the camera, but I will tell you, these are a smidge darker than their non-creamy equivalent, just because if you notice, if you've ever mixed your foundation with like a moisturizer or even just water, you'll notice that it looks darker when wet, and so these are almost wet because of that vitamin E in them, so they look a little bit darker. And I'm just going to show you swatches of these. So this one is called Fresh, and it is the equivalent of Aussie Perk Me Up, which is actually a mix of Pearl Beige and Sunlight. And I love using it for my under eye concealer. And so I'm going to swatch it next to its dry counterpart, the Aussie Perk Me Up concealer. And this particular one, just because it's so light and pearly, I don't think looks like there's very much of a difference in color. So it doesn't really look that much darker. So I don't know if you can see the swatches there. So this one right here is the creamy, and this other one is the non-creamy version. So I think they look definitely quite similar. The creamy one kind of goes on a little bit smoother and a little bit creamier, but what I find with the pearl concealers from Everyday Minerals in general is they tend to be kind of almost creamy, maybe because of that pearl quality. So these are kind of similar, and again, this is Fresh is the name of it because they changed the name. So, but I do really like it. I probably would prefer it if they were to sell it separately to the other Aussie Perk Me Up, just because it is just a little bit creamier, and I do like that, and it's nice for your under eye to have a little bit extra moisture. This next one I will do for you is called Morning, and it is the equivalent of Sunlight, not the pearl one, just the regular one. So, still powder, but just slightly creamier texture. So don't be misled by, if you hear people calling them creamy, they're not actually creamy. Let me swatch that. So this one, you can definitely tell a difference in the creaminess. Again, this is the creamy side, this is the non-creamy side, and it's probably hard to tell because they're not pearly, but the creamy side goes on thicker and kind of a heavier coverage than the non-creamy. So I think it would give you better coverage for your under eye area, but also it would be more moisturizing. So next, let me just clean off my brush here. Next I have for you the Clear, which is the equivalent of Multi-Intensive. Let me just open that up so I can swatch it for you. And this one, I probably see the biggest difference in color, probably because of the fact that it's kind of a darker color already. The other ones are so light, probably don't really see a difference. But this is kind of more of a darker skin tone color, so it's easier to see a difference. So let me just swatch that next to their Multi-Intensive Concealer and the regular. So you can see that. Creamy, non. See how it's darker? You can probably see better at different angles. It's also goes on thicker because of the creaminess of it again. So just keep that in mind if you have tried the Multi-Intensive, because that was like borderline okay for me for color, but the creamy one just ended up being too dark. And last but not least, we have the Mint. Let me wipe my hand off. Just do a quick swatch for you there. And a quick swatch of my dry version of the Mint. Oh, you're definitely going to be able to see a difference. It goes on so lightly. Alright. See that? Dry, creamy. So definitely comes on a lot more opaque in the creamy version, which is good and bad. It's, you know, it's good because you get better coverage, but it's bad because it's green. So if you just want to be really extra super careful about putting green on your face, you want just a little bit, it might be a little bit harder to do with the creamy Mint. But again, moisturizing, very nice, kind of thicker, more opaque coverage. So just in conclusion, I want to say about these, and that one's called Dawn, I'm sorry. I don't know if I said that. So Dawn is the Mint, Clear is the Multi, Morning is the Sunlight, and Fresh is the Aussie. So in conclusion, I really love these. They're nice and creamy. I would definitely buy the Aussie version if they sold it separately, and I hope that they do, and also in larger containers, because as of right now, this is just a kit and you can only buy them together like this with the brush. So, but I do really like them, and I hope that you give them a try if you're looking for that more hydrating concealer.